Hey, dear friend, I want to welcome you to our lesson for the fourth quarter, the book of Joshua. So, lessons of faith from the book of Joshua, being the 2025 quarter 4 lesson, and our first lesson shall be on recipe for success. So, on the introduction for the lesson for the quarter, the book of Joshua marks the transition from the leadership of Moses to that of Joshua. You remember that we have just finished the book of Moses in this past quarter. So this book begins with the story of Israel entering the promised land that we know is Canaan, and ends with them settling in that same land. Joshua indeed had a tough act to follow. That is, to pick where Moses had left off. We all know about Moses. He died when he was 120 years old. But that challenge was only the beginning. Joshua was to do what Moses never did. One, take the nation after the 40 years in the desert across the Jordan and Canaan, according to the promise that God had made to the fathers years before. Let me quote Joshua chapter 1 verse 2, New King James Version. It says, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now therefore arise, go over this Jordan, you and all these people, to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. The key to the story, to the whole story, is found here in the Lord's words to Joshua. They are going to enter, and I quote, the land which I, Yahweh, am going to give to them. Yes, Joshua is not going to do it alone, but only through the power and guidance of the Lord, who would have brought the people into the land a generation earlier had they obeyed their end of the covenant. Unfortunately, they didn't, and thus they met the consequences of their actions. The fact is, during the preceding 40 years, Israel had faced the negative side of the covenant. Because of their rebellion against God, the entire adult generation who experienced the wonders and marvels of Exodus, with the exception of Caleb and Joshua, perished in the desert. 4 of the 5 books of Moses deal with what happened to them as they wandered in the desert all that time. Now, under the leadership of Joshua, the second generation was ready to undertake the challenges of possessing the land. Let me quote Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 7 and 8, New King James Version. It says, Then Moses called Joshua and said to him in the sight of all Israel, Be strong and of good courage, for you must go with these people to the land which the Lord has sworn to their fathers to give them, and you shall cause them to inherit it. And the Lord, He is the one who goes before you. He will help, He will be with you, He will not leave you nor forsake you. Do not fear nor be dismayed. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 7 and 8, New King James Version. Now, the promises of God given to the patriarchs and to Moses are about to be fulfilled. There is an air of expectation and excitement, a new beginning for the people, long homeless and dispossessed. God has been faithful in delivering them from slavery, and He can certainly be trusted to fulfill His promises concerning the land. Let me quote Joshua chapter 21, verse 43 to 45, as contained in Andrews Bible Commentary, that is Andrews University Press, 2020, page 365. The primary purpose of the book of Joshua is to describe Israel's entry into the land of promise, the conquest of the land, and its division among the tribes. This purpose underlies the message of the book, namely, the faithfulness of God in fulfilling the promise of land made to Abraham. The book emphasizes God's faithfulness to his covenant promises. Quoted from Joshua chapter 21, verse 43 to 45. This we can find in a commentary from Andrew's Bible. We will discover together that though the book of Joshua was written more than 3 millennia ago, the world in which we live today is not so different from that of Joshua's in its spiritual challenges. We might face challenges of a different nature, but nonetheless, there are challenges, especially spiritual ones, that threaten our security, our faith, and the fulfillment of the mission God has entrusted to his people. The example of Joshua will certainly inspire us to claim God's promises concerning our times and to succeed through his power as he did. So this lesson has been written by Banna Magyarossi, who currently serves as the Executive Secretary of the Inter-European Division and the Chair of the Biblical Research Committee of that division. He began his service for the church as a pastor and department director in the South Transylvania Conference, Romania, and has continued as a theology teacher and president of Adventist University in Romania. So we'll move to lesson 1 for this week. So for lesson 1, which runs from 27th of September to 3rd of October, the lesson 1 is entitled Recipe for Success. So on the Sabbath afternoon, we are to read these books as we prepare for the Sabbath that's coming ahead. Deuteronomy 18, 15 to 22, Joshua chapter 1, Hebrews chapter 6, verse 17 and 18, Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10 to 18, Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 to 3, and Romans chapter 3, verse 31. Our memory text is drawn from the book of Joshua chapter 1, verse 7. New King James Version says that, "Only be strong and be courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go." Now, Benjamin Zander, musical director of the Boston Philharmonic Orchestra, taught a music interpretation class. He observed the students' anxiety as they faced the evaluation of their performance. In order to put the students at ease and to open them up to their full potential, he announced on the first day of the class that everybody would get an A. This A was not an expectation to live up to, but a possibility to live into. The only requirement was for the students to write a letter within the first 2 weeks of the semester, but dated at the end of the class. The letter explained why they deserved the high grade. The book of Joshua is about new possibilities. Moses, who had dominated 40 years of Israel's history, belonged in the past. Of course, he's dead, we know, isn't it? The exodus from Egypt and the wanderings in the wilderness, tragically marked by rebellion and stubbornness, has ended. A new generation, willing to obey God, was ready to enter the promised land, not as an expectation to live up to, but as a possibility to live into. Let's study the way God opened up a new chapter in Israel's life and how He can do the same in ours as well. I pray that we study this week's lesson as we prepare for the Sabbath of 4th. So we'll look at today, Sunday. Now, Sunday is entitled A New Moses. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15 to 22, then Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 to 9. Then we'll answer the question, why is it significant that the book of Joshua starts by echoing a promise related to what would happen after the death of Moses? Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15 to 22. The Lord God thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me, and to him ye shall hearken, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb in the day of assembly, saying, Let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And the Lord said unto me, They have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise up a prophet from among thy brethren like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, How shall we know the word which the Lord hath spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken, but the prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 to 9. Now, after the death of Moses, let me read in New King James Version. Okay. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spoke to Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' assistant, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, you and all these people, and to the land which I am giving to them, the children of Israel. Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon, I have given you, as I said to Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon as far as the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and to the great sea toward the going down of the sun shall be your territory. No man shall be able to stand before you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and be of good courage, for this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For when you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Now, after having read those two scriptures, why is it significant that the book of Joshua starts by echoing a promise related to what happened after the death of Moses? Please, you can give your comments in the chat section of this video. Though Moses had died and a new leader Joshua had been appointed by God, there are parallels between them. Both men had been told by God that they would lead their people into the land promised to their fathers. As the Lord said to Joshua, I quote, "Every place that the sole of your foot will tread upon I have given you, as I said to Moses." That we found in Joshua chapter 1 verse 3, New King James Version. Joshua would finish the work that had originally been given to Moses. He was really a new Moses. Also, read Exodus chapter 33 verse 11, Numbers chapter 14 verse 6 to 30 and 38, Numbers chapter 27 verse 18, Numbers chapter 32 verse 12, Deuteronomy chapter 1 verse 38, Deuteronomy chapter 31 verse 23, and Deuteronomy chapter 34 verse 9. After reading the text, what do they tell us about Joshua? What do these texts tell us about Joshua? So, at this stage, the promise that God would raise up a prophet similar to Moses, as we saw in Deuteronomy chapter 18 verse 15, is only a possibility rather than an accomplished reality. The opening words of the book of Joshua remind the reader of this promise that, at the same time, create an expectation to see it fulfilled. Though dead, Moses still dominates the first chapter. His name is mentioned 10 times, Joshua's only 4. Moses is called the servant of the Lord, while Joshua is referred to as Moses' assistant. You find that in Joshua chapter 1 verse 1. It will take a lifetime of faithful service and obedience for Joshua to receive the title servant of the Lord. See Joshua chapter 24 verse 29, New King James Version. Even if the first chapter of Joshua captures a transition between two great leaders of Israel, the most important character is the Lord himself, whose words open the book and whose guidance dominates it. There are no questions as to who is the real leader of Israel. Question for you. Throughout the ages, God has called men and women to lead his people. Why is it crucial to remember who the true invisible leader of the church is? Let me repeat. Throughout the ages, God has called men and women to lead his people. Why is it crucial to remember who the true invisible leader of the church is? This is the end of our lesson on Sunday. I pray that you study this even as we meet tomorrow for the next lesson. Thank you.